Okay, so it is the end of the year. And the middle of the year on the British pound, if you notice, it is the low, it is the doji, it is the cliche entry of all time. Now, the problem with the even the 5 period moving average on the monthly, I think you're going to miss that trade. This is what I would call the unfair value locked under this floor that started at the very beginning of the year. And in the insane sell off into that area, you had to know that that was a buying opportunity, a 400 pip window. And if all you did in my limit system, somebody asked me about a certain segment of the market, I'd have to look it up, but let's just imagine this is the trade. Like anytime the market's going down like this, what do you do about that if you're going to be the buyer? You really have to step out in front and say, well, I'm going to get in 10K every pip I'm buying. So you'd be in a 400K, right? It's down 400 pips. You're in that's 400K. As soon as this, and you're ready to buy $1 million of currency, the broker lets you put 1,000 tickets in. Yes, I am trading one case like that all the time because if I press this button here and it puts in this grid, now this is going to be 10 to 30 pips. This is a 3K, 4 hours. Very conservative. I don't even think I'll get filled on that. On the monthly, it looks like we're going to get filled any moment. So another big distortion in the market that people are I don't think aware of is that these markets are just absolutely unfair forever, and then they retrace. So if for the guy that's buying into this slam, and let's just be conservative and say we won't start buying until this, but that means you're trading with 1,000 pips stop. You've survived this move to here. And inside of this bar, I guarantee you that when we probe below here, that if I went to the daily, I bet there's a good chance we made it back to here. And this would be a speculation. We made it back to here before we slammed down again. We could have even come back to this doji. You can't see it here on the monthly. But look how clean, and you can't tell me candlesticks don't work. A gravestone dragonfly in the monthly is a big deal. I mean, that means that the market was able to probe into fresh lows, blowing everybody's mind below here. And all the bears are like, oh, it's going to go to hell. Oh, is it now? Really? So having limit grids in a 400 pip range, yes, it's completely different than having, if you buy $1 million, you could, with enough money in the account, you could have obviously bought $1 million, 2 million, all the way up. The guy that wants to make 16 grand a day, all you have to do is go, okay, dude, I put a buy limit here for 5 mil. I put one down here for 10, right? I'm at 10. I'm going to go geometric. I'm going 2, 8, 16. By the time we get here, I'm martingaled into $32 million position on the monthly like an idiot. All I'm doing is buying every 100 pips. How can't people see this grid entry? Because they can't believe. And of course, from the trailing buy stop, dare I say, on the monthly entry, which has got a lot of lag, you're waiting for a small monthly bar. So buy stop here, not really a good fill. I don't think you got filled on that. I don't see that blue line shifted. It's almost like straight across. Actually, they trapped you a little bit, maybe. We don't see what I have to do is run a trailing high line of 1 period, and you could see that psycho vacuum underneath the floor. So here, the people that are buying reversals are killing the trend traders. They're raping them and leaving them for dead. And so the people that built algos, that they're like, you know, we got this trend algo we've been running. It runs a nice moving app, and we're just selling all the time. Oh, really? So you went and sold here. Let me guess. The channel traders, where did they kind of like get their ass kicked? And we could see, if we were to be a strict channelist with only a single algo. Just, I got a channel, I'm trading it. On closing prices, there's only one place to draw it. The rules are the same for everybody. You put this on the highs. Okay. You have your first, and you almost hit it here. This is your pullback. It's also a pullback into this bottom. Hopefully everybody can see this by now, that closing prices are structures in time. And on the monthly, it's so fucking stupid obvious. But it takes a month for the market to die down in a narrow range. And here comes the channel traders claiming, I got a course on channel trading. You want to see my entries? They look like, the setup look like that. But on the monthly, that might happen once in your lifetime. How many, at this angle even, it may be a steeper time next time. The same drama's there, but you can't afford the risk because too many fucking pips. 1,000 pip stops. Sure, on the monthly, you can talk about trading this shit with a 500 pip stop. Yes, you would, and you would. You'd have to. Here, you have to trade it on the clock. Like, you're literally going to, dude, we're selling, and my target, I already know, and I'm going to trace off of this last known low. Well, overshoots runway. It actually goes lower. Well, this is where the people decided, well, we'll put a pitchfork in there. Yes, at some point you could draw fucking a million of these things, but on the monthly chart, here's the pitchfork. Well, we're going to get in at the other. This is the middle. This is the GAN and all this shit. But sure, the problem is that each bottom becoming a top is unique, and you got to draw a line at every one of those. They all matter, especially the doji. That's the pivot. That is the pause. That is the look at this inverted hammer. Somebody just made so much money riding that up and all the way back to the starting gate. And we know that it came back to the starting gate and blew everybody's mind. And then it went up. On this monthly chart, we know that alone. We don't have to drop down to another time frame. We know there's this massive vacuum above here. We have a hammer with a giant void above it. Do you think they're going to fill that? Could be. And this complete gun rush, this short squeeze into the end of the year looks classic to me. Like, yeah, we're going to go after this rooftop here. We got another 200 pips to go into the end of the year. Climax insanity, and God knows what after that. It's going to go back to like normal trading. So the way these things run is look at how close to the bottom of the year you are. You make a whole 1 year run clean in reverse. Yeah. Here, you kind of get down there. You give up all that. You give up almost a 618, I would have to say, if you know, obviously Fibonacci is going to turn up a lot nicer in this giant structure, and you could cheat and find all sorts of nooks and crannies here where there's a 618. But look what the fuck's going on here on this currency. Now, the monthly, mind-boggling, still down into what blows people's minds is this thing at the bottom where you've got this just mind-boggling zone, right? This is the first tap into it, and people just feast on that fucking room, that spot. The next time, this is where the heavy hitters, now, the smart money, so to speak, anybody that buys down here, right? Well, how'd you know it was going to turn around down there? Well, a couple reasons. You could have even been a dumb shit channel trader on this and won. You could have said, okay, that's it. That's the channel. I'm not going to put a pitchfork. I'm going to go for the extreme edge. Look at the retests. Who doesn't want to trade a channel after looking at that? Thing is, you've got to assume that, well, you don't actually need that. Sadly, it's about this, right? It's about that. Puncturing this zone, this basement, creates a lot of interest. And the trend traders that are running trailing settlements, this is their only backfill where they just lay track for 200 pips and pick that up into what people have already perceived to be the steepest trend of all currently running. You just got to connect these peaks. Now you've got that down to like an unsustainable channel. You take this line, and you copy it over. So you make this kind of price pulse trend that lives inside the other channel. And it's giving up the ghost here primarily because of that zone. So it's a perfect momentum meets vacuum. But now, right now, it's filling that vacuum and it looks like it wants to clear that whole thing. And then, oh my God, who knows what's next, because you still got all that space above you. And I guess for the most part, if you can look at this Brexit thing, you can make all sorts of excuses why the pound is just going to annihilate the dollar. And so because the pound, the dollar killed the pound into here, so they've feasted here. Now we take out these tops here. Now anybody selling to this has to be out of their mind. Maybe for the scalp, you got some sell limits propped in here. And right now, you'd be selling into that. So right now, you've got another bank of, you got to have some deep pockets, but you'd have to sell that and have some scalps built in, because nobody wants to stand in front of that all the way to here and beyond. What if we come up to here and it just becomes one of these mind-boggling moves, and you can make the target argument? Well, we've already hit the target, I suppose. This is the line people typically draw here for, this is supposed to be the resistance, and if it didn't hold there, then, but it's actually cutting back through that. So your next trajectory has to be here if you're going to do the Gartley-esque bullshit, right? So this is a structure issue in time, just created by the fact that we have this clunky fall down, and center point's always going to be where we're at now, looking back. But I would say if you did the 50% rule, you're just above that right now, I'd say. So here's maybe the middle of the road of that whole thing, that whole structure. And what's going to happen is I'm going to cash out as we go up here, and I'm just going to go flat, because it's too ridiculous. And when the end of the year comes, it's just window dressing. People want to cash out, and they just want to get out of stuff and unravel it so they can figure out how much they got left over. And these markets just run on a stupid clock, the end of the year, beginning of the year, the middle of the year, the middle of the week, the middle of the month, the end of the month. Pretty crazy. This monthly chart is just psychotic, and it just really only reinforces that at some point, as beautiful as this channel may look to you, as this goes down, they're going to turn around and they're going to annihilate it. They're going to punish. Somebody's going to pay for all that perfect structure, and that is the last touch. And you don't even get divergence away from that. I mean, it's like that was an amazing, of course, closing prices only, because if you had a stop, say you sold here and you put too tight a stop, then you didn't even get to ride this big, giant, glorious move down. And then here, you'd have to say, well, this is pretty much the territory for people that are on the daily looking for a range trade, because all this nonsense took like months and months of bullshit. And then finally, people buy here, you ride it to this little kind of last known. People are really counting on that. The sell stop guys and people that are protecting their longs, they're contributing to the smash because they got the trailing sells. Next thing you know, they're getting triggered and they're making more selling. The breakout bots are jumping on the small bars. Like here, buy stop, sell stop. That is the smallest monthly bar in how long? Yeah, the trend traders are coming in on that. So the small inside bars are trend traders entries. This is doji breakout, buy stop, sell stop. Not perfect. You typically want to be in something here, scalping and making 100 pips. Then, yeah, maybe you're going to get this move, but you can't just bet every move is going to go like this straight up for like not even a pullback, right? So this isn't even a pullback. This is just a doji hammer and then rip. It still wants to rip this hole. I think this is it. I'm cashing out. You get up in here, it's all seller's world, and it'd all be like, you could probably make 300, 400 pips coming back off of that. You know, I mean, depends how fast you get there. If you go screaming up to here, you finish out the end of the year and you're trapped in here, it's kind of like safe territory, because it's not like when you're either selling or buying into this, that is a hefty move on the monthly. I mean, that is literally, the month before was nothing, right? And don't forget all the sell stops here, all the protection for people that are long from here. Well, their systems are gonna start to go, well, we got in here, fuck, let's break even. We never cashed out up here. I don't know what we were thinking, but you know, you still had another chance here to get out, and this would be the crime, is that they come walking all the way back to here and you get out and you don't even buy this move. So how many trades are you doing? The guy had asked me if I'm doing those singles. Yeah, because it's too much. I mean, I'm not going to buy a standard lot here with a fucking stop here and risk like $4,000 on this one trade in this British pound and go, yeah, I know I made like 20 grand. But still, I mean, I just wouldn't do it, because how often are you going to see this trade? I would say be alerted. If you see the market up, look at this move. This is 1,000 pips in 1 month. Clean up into the end of the year. Does that even mean something to somebody? Like, how does the no-nonsense guy miss these things? Here's the end of the year. Here's the middle of the year, and the end of the year could just end up back in this territory. And the whole time, these guys have a baseline of some harebrained moving average that's either like this or it's very snug. I'm thinking a 3 period. On this one, you want to trade like a 5 period moving average. Every time it closes below the 5, you're getting in. Yeah, when it gets up here, then you could sell. Like on the monthly, you want like a 3 period moving average. That's all you need. Just pick a simple whatever. That would be your thing, right? Or you could just draw trend lines. You could sit there and keep doing a redraw of this stuff. So here you would have a very steep line. You'd be kind of sticking into the, this is very fast move. So you would have to put in this trend line, but you could put this one in and say, you know what, I scalped this because there's no way they're going to hold that velocity. And that's why the big pullback. So you could actually say, oh, this is a crossover. I draw a trend line here. It breaks, crossover, pull back, resistance, come back. And that's pretty clean. I mean, I guess I have to redraw that like this to make that really. So actually, it rides that rate of change. Another divergence here is where people get killed. I'm sure this is a perfect 3 period divergence up at the top. But I think that you could get annihilated on that one. So, let's take a look here. Okay, so we're just going to try to run this into the end of the month, into the end of the year. This one move, I think, is going to be crazy. And the volatility on this pound, I guess, you'd have to say if it goes up, then I guess nobody cares if Brexit goes through. It went through here. It's going through right now, I suppose, in the sense that if we ever dig out of this hole, there's plenty of room to go up here. We're down at historical and hysterical lows. Zoom out a level here. So all this stuff's happening under what I believe to be the monster floor was here. Of course, you kind of overshot, but I'm going to give it this whole range here, and I'm going to include the biggest structures here. So when the pound went through below here, here's where it became a major pivot, where a bottom became a top in the monthly. Of course, that took a year, and we're missing some data here or something. So I don't trust this chart. Big holes here in the I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's not the best broker in the world. I think this could be, I don't even know. That's why I backtest the robot in this broker. It's like, yeah, the robot didn't do good. I mean, he should have done better. He should have been a better robot. But that big monster bottom there, God knows what's going to happen here. So let me see if I got my. I don't know if I got a. Yeah, there we go. So starting over from scratch here, we definitely got some data issues, missing some data. But for the moment, I think this is correct data that this is coming back into the midsection of last year on the pound as it screams back, blowing people's minds. Yeah, good luck selling into this thing. So this thing's on a hell mission. Although this stairway could get taken out, but this thing is on a mission. So this is kind of frightening. I wouldn't sell it. I would put my sell limits way up. Like another, I'm thinking we could just go into the end of the year screaming up. Like, look at this bolting move. I mean, this is astounding. This here has to be one of the most insane breakouts I've seen on any currency. Just, there's only one pullback in that. That is astounding. That's going to throw people's, oh, my ATR's been kicked up. Yeah, that's actually going to bleed into your 14 ATR and expand it a little bit, and you won't be able to trade now. God, well, of course, you get back in here, but you're waiting for that 14 to calm down. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. I mean, you got to look at this thing and say, you know what, we could retest here. You know, we could. If you're selling into that, you have to know that this was your scalp. And if you did not get out on this sell back to here off of these two tops, you're like, uh-oh. When they hit this, yeah, you could start selling. I suppose a lot of people did. They started selling right here. And where did they make money? They came to break even on these tickets. They made all their money on these pullbacks. Every time they sold into new highs. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're the guy that's selling this pullback. You're counter trend trading it. You know your exit. You're like, holy shit, look at this. And this is all range fill for like a month of ranging. So on the 4 hour, it looks really obvious where you're supposed to get in. But on the daily, you can't beat support and resistance. Support and resistance don't work. Yeah, only because you don't know where to see it. You don't know that this double top became a double bottom, became this bottom, right? The wicks are all happening in a 100 pip range. So if you're dropping orders that last 1 month to capture that, to dump there, that's your trade. You just made a mint off a high probability setup. Here it looks like they're just going to keep crushing it. So at the end of the week, it may just spike up and drift sideways. I'll probably get out based on pips. But it looks like we're going to do some damage here. The dollar's just going to get crushed. Right into the end of the year. I don't know what's going to happen in the stock market based on that, but gold looks like it's ready to, I mean, I just don't like gold. But I got to say, gold's setting up for a huge move up or a move down. Now, you could trade it both directions. Let's take a look at the gold market here. So I'm not the guy that trade these big giant moves, you know, especially in gold. I'm not going to, because I would have already had to made a scalp amount to survive the gold move, I think, to get in a big position. So that's the trick, is to be in big enough to ride it out, know when the getting's good, because as soon as these big moves are over, it's sidewaysville. Like even this here, if you try to get, you could have got in here on this one pullback on this daily chart. You could have said, oh, I'm buying that pullback to the confirmation breakout point. Perfect setup. Get right in there. Ride that. And as you come above this, you have to be saying, holy God, I better. Because if you don't get out in this window, then you're coming all the way back to this price again. And you're kind of like, all right, you know, if you had a trailing stop in there, then they kind of took you out there. Right? If you have very conservative trailing stop, and of course these trailing stops are winning entries, you know, for the guy that doesn't mind the ultimate confirmation, you should take out the previous day's low, and you don't have to get in on this limit order, but you can see that people did get filled on their limits there, just like they did here. So people that put limits in this 50 pip pocket and trade it back to here, yeah, you could trade $5 million positions on there. A lot of clicking. But not if you put a limit order and then it buys every half pip for the next 8 hours. I guarantee you they're going to fill you. Now, if it only lasts 15 minutes, that's a completely different story. So you can trade just like that. You just come in front of the market. It's dropping 10 pips every 2 hours. You put in a 2 hour 10 pip deep script. You walk away. You see what happens. Now you see how many they fill you, how many they don't. Then you go, oh, I think that's what's going on there. But you're really preparing for the impact. Like if I was going to sell into this, I already know what I would do. I put a sell limit at the 100-yard lines. I'd put them for here. I'd put the short term and long terms. I'd say we're going to have an order up here that lasts all day just to get the party started. Selling here, and then every 10 pips I'm selling all day, and maybe it's just 20K up here for this trade. Then you're going to have to put in the 1 hour and the 2 hour and the 3 hour. So you're trying to get as close as you can, the 15s. If coming into Asia tonight, it pops up and comes back, it's a high probability trade. Would you take it? Could you put a 25K up there and make like $20? Yeah, 10 pips a ticket. Or are you going to come in with limits and you're thinking, well, you know what I'll do is I'll just trail limits in here. So that's what I would do. I would say, give me the 1 hour chart. Can I perceive a pullback on the 1 hour chart? This is the daily. So this is the 1 hour momentum. I would say let's take a realistic view of what's possible here. And I would press a button just like I did, and it would come in with a buy limit, buy limit, buy limit, buy limit, buy limit. Now these could be 10Ks, but imagine that this is a lot actually. I'm going to put in on the 15-minute at buy 25K here. So these are all singles. And here I got a cluster, another cluster, but I think most of what I want to do now is that I don't think it's coming back, so I'm going to sell here. Sell here. Imagine it's 3K. By here it's 11K. By here I'm selling 50K. By here I'm selling, oh geez, 70K. So I got plenty of span I can lay out here. If this is and then maybe that's 4 hours, 50K. That's about 40 pips above. So here I'm looking at the next 100-yard line. And so here I'd put in a all day long. We're going to sell here. Next 12 hours, we'll sell here. 8 hours from now, we sell here. And just, you have these pancakes in here. And in a perfect world, the market's going to shoot up into that. It's going to rip back to here. You're going to scalp to here. And if that's a lot of money to you, you're probably done. You could still trade the other direction. Pops up. Okay, I'm going to come in with my buy limits. In fact, the way I look at it is if imagine this was the end of a move, I think that we've come up here already, and now we're going to take out the stairway going down. I could either sell into it like a goober, you know. I mean, you'd still, some of these are just dumb trades. You have a sell stop here, a buy stop here, like whichever way. This is a really no ego trade. You're just like, well, that's a pullback. Okay, well, if it's not, and it keeps tanking and takes out the stairway, then I want to go sell. I could even have a sell stop here. But at some point, you're going to get crushed if you start putting in sell stops this late. I got buy limits down here for a ride into this bottom. So I'm always looking at, I'm going to buy here, and I'm going to ride it to here. And if it comes down lower, I ride it back to here. I don't necessarily counting on a ride to here, but if I would leave some of that on the table, I can make the argument for these are shallow pullbacks in an up move. Anytime it's a small pullback and an up move, so it makes an up move, pullback, Big up move, baby pullbacks. You're just buying baby pullbacks. There's nothing complicated about this other than the fact that you need a 20 pip stop, because if you're pulling the trigger, if you build a long position into this drift with a 20 pip stop to make 40 pips, you may not make 40 pips if you're going to put in buy stops here. So you really have to have the trailing limits and buy into this on limits, heavy limits. They're sitting here, and this is nothing but they caved into and took out the low of 2 days of daily, right? So then they come back to the floor. We've seen this a million times. The scalpers take it to the floor. One more down leg, trapped under the floor. The moment of truth comes, and at the 20-yard line, closing prices, you're pulling the trigger on the clock here. Pulls back, buy. Pulls back, buy. Now you're sitting, in my opinion, you're waiting to get cashed out. Let it go. Get out here. Say that was the fucking amazing trade. If you bought down here and this thing engulfs, boom. And maybe it's going to take to the end of the month. Be some convoluted shit here. But this thing's ripping. Look at this move. Are you kidding me? Right? What is the cause of that move? It's because people sold above here. Same thing. They sold to the high the previous day. This guy did it on a video. So funny. He blocked off this so nobody could see it. Like, yeah, that trade works until here. And then they rip your face off. So the guy that puts a buy stop here and a sell stop here goes, what are you talking about? I made money on that trade. What, are you fucking retarded? Go read the no-nonsense Bible. I was teasing this guy. Then he goes, where's that at? I see the guy in there again in that Discord talking about, you can't talk like that in here. This is for trade calls only. There'll be no chitty chat. Wow, okay, Nazi fuck. Jesus. Dude, you're no-nonsense Discord. This is like being in I don't even know what. There's nothing to compare to it. It's off the charts. So yeah, this is a hell of a fucking year. And this whole no-nonsense thing, he's talking about conspiracies. So he admits that he put up this Big Bang video, and he made sure that the title would trigger people to click on it and stuff. And he studied that, and he rounded up all these people, 140,000 viewers, and everybody. And then his last video, he said, if anybody talks out of line, I would delete their comments from this video. It's like, man, this guy's really putting the screws down, like Hitler style. Electric fence. Your hat's on the fence again. It's crazy. So that guy. And then he's talking about, yeah, Bloomberg's terminals are going to heat up, and Bloomberg's going to make money because the trades are, when the market crashes, they're executing through his terminals. He doesn't believe that, does he? If No Nonsense believes that, man, that's just. But yeah, there's the No Nonsense thing, man. It's too much. We don't trade reversals. It is so cute, the people that are like, you got to keep with the original words of Ronald LRH. We're still waiting for him to come back to the landing pad and pick up his pencil. We always keep his coffee ready just in case he shows up. Yeah, that's what he likes. So yeah, quite a psycho move. And look at gold. I think it is ready to percolate here. Certainly not a gold bug. It's pretty, I suppose. And I don't know. These gold bugs kill me. They don't even know what the spread is on this shit. Wait till they bid this gold up to 3,000 and people be like, I'm selling my gold. Yeah. Let's hope we sell. Man, if I owned gold and it was at 3,000, I'd be like, I think I'm getting out here. So this looks like the most ideal setup I've ever seen on a chart for a bull in gold, really ever. Because if we take out this fractal, this Williams bullshit fractal up here, and you can trust and believe that Williams will be going long there, and he's going to say that's a good trade because he went long here on this one, right? So he got picked up in the flow here. But I would say to anybody that wants to trade Williams fractals, be aware of the fact that this is happening underneath that, right? So it's where it happens. A lot of risk putting a buy stop on this triple top, even though you are up on that trade, and that is really, this thing looks like it's going to steamroll, and the dollar's going to get annihilated, and the gold's going to close at about well, this trajectory we could probably imagine. So it's been a good year in gold, I suppose, for this. It's actually gone a little bit beyond into the other side of the pitchfork here. So it's quite the stampede. But yeah, I think we could bang on this price here, whatever that is. 1600. Maybe 1650 here, screaming into the home plate by the end of the year. Well, we still got some time, but or at least right after the first of the year, we could be climaxing around 1625 maybe, or something like that, right up in here. I don't know, 1600. Just take out the high of the previous, what price is this? Let me put a thing up here. Yeah, so it's, I'd say he gets 1600. Maybe overshoot a little bit, 1625. I know people like to guess the end of the year numbers and stuff. Looks like a big bum rush there. So stocks, I didn't look at stocks here to see what happened there. Let me see. Take a look at the stock market here. What we got? I don't have it on here. But I think this is the buy of the century. We finally collapsed into this giant hole, euro versus the pound. So I think the retracement's going to begin here. There's also a climax move for the pound. Doing insane rapage to the lows here. But for those people that like a nice high probability trade where it's down on the monthly and it's in the hole, holy shit. I'm buying this thing. The euro looks like it's going to really take control here. The pound's drifting back. I think it's 200 pips from just kind of mellowing out in the middle of the whole charade, the whole insane, all that Brexit nonsense. It doesn't have anything to do with Brexit. But this looks like a complete healing game of coming back to, and you got to zoom out quite a ways to find where this blue line's coming from. Pretty amazing. Holy shit. So right there, as you take off this and just chop into that, possibly, what an amazing, insane retracement. Just mind-boggling. I'm sure that people were able to get on the trend about maybe one of these pullbacks, your classic moving average. We can all imagine the perfect cherry-picked entries here, and then, oh yeah, finally your moving average realizes it's going up, even though had you bought here and wrote it to here, or even bought this and wrote it to here, counter trend trading. Amazing. Buying these new lows here and just come screaming back. Just ripping back here all the way back up into this little wedge. 100 pip window and then screaming back down. Yeah, sure. Trade 10K every pip. You just, as that thing crushes down, you're like, yeah, I'm long fucking $10 million there. Sure, why not? Just put in fat tickets and put some money in the account. The only problem is that when you buy something like this, everybody that asks me, well, what about this place on the chart? Yeah, no shit. If you started buying here, it took you a long time before you made even 100 pips on that trade. No shit, but what if you bought every one of these? You bought a 10K. Is that $16,000 a day? Now, if you martingaled in, fuck that. You're buying here. Anything below here, you could buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, $9 million position. But this is a $1 million position, so it's 1, 2, all this shit added up, right? Where's your highest profit? Where should you be getting out if you decided to buy that whole? You bought tons more here because of this, and you bought all the way here. But when you got below here, you really started loading the wagon. For every 100 pips, you bought twice as much. Then when it comes back to all you know is this low, right? And hopefully when you started buying here, you took something off the table. See? This is why the market goed up here, right? Because this hole, the looming vacuum, the evil fucking vacuum, of course. When these trailing buy stops were here on the bears positions, and they're like, holy shit, really, we're going down here, and then it retested. I think that's what really destroys people's brains. Is this bounce to here, and then doesn't even make it to here, and then just. I mean, look at how vicious, right? And this being the most vicious retrace, well, of course, it's fueled by this. That is just, wow. Let me just take that out like that, crush that. There's probably some scalps in there. I mean, that is the daily chart. Not much, though. And this is brutal. And now it looks like we're just going to like sneak up here, chop this stuff out. FOMC bullshit. Not even news. Move fucking 10 pips on it. People that are afraid to trade that, they already announced in the morning, well, we're not going to change anything. They do that now. They diffuse these news events. People are losing so much money, If nobody knows what ADP numbers are, nobody knows what those numbers are. But if the Fed they preview it and they say, we're 1.75, fuck, we're kind of high on the interest rate. Of course, their fear is inflation. Now, they finally caught up to reality. Everybody's fucking, dude. If gold goes to 2016, if it goes to 3,000, people are going to be pigs. There'll be so much money in circulation. Yeah, because people do it's $3,000 for fucking no shit. I don't know what's going to happen if people are actually going to give a fuck, but it's funny because there's more of a tendency, if you're going to say, well, that's 3,000, it used to be 2,000, well, the guys, well, fuck you, if that's it, then it's just the whole brinksmanship of, well, then if you're going to charge that, we're going to charge that. Well, the interest rate just went up. Yeah, I can afford it. It's fine. So the money velocity goes up. Next thing you know, you're looking at these numbers going, really? That's fucking $10. Well, you're making $1 million a trade now. Or what you're making, they're paying you to fucking, say hello at Walmart more. Because people will just raise prices as need be. But if everybody's got money, then fucking prices, it's inflation. So the deregulation. No, they blame Trump. He overheated the economy. That's what's going to happen. Obviously. So the guy that loses is the last guy to get there. Well, it doesn't matter. Everybody's going to die anyway, so who cares? It's not like it matters, So in the end, right? But look at this retracement on this beast of a insanity. I mean, the British pound does not disappoint. People are like, holy shit. I mean, that's a good trend trade here. This little baby pullback, it's still going up. We just got to clean this house on top. And then that's it. It'll be just like static nonsense after this move. If gold can make this big, nice thrust into the 1625 by the end of the year, it'll be a classic. So on the monthly, it's a double bottom. So we don't have a lot of data here, but there's the holes in the data set for gold. zoom in here. Not going to get a lot of, but it's enough. We do have this double bottom here. Let's pull back at the monthly. So it looks hell bent. That pullback, that sell off was not worth too much. I think I talked about a sell off on here a long time ago. It wasn't bad. It kind of fell down, fell out of that trend line that I had on there. So I think I had a trend line like this, pretty steep. So you got that one pullback. But look at all these nonsense trades. See, the problem is that when you look at the weekly, you have these ideas, but you look at the daily, you're like, what a fucking mess. And you really got to lay into these trades because you're only making like $50 up, $50 down. So you got to get in really big for you to like get money out of this thing, right? So these are some pretty serious moves here. Like this last day, here's a nice rally. I would get out. That'd be it. I'd scalp out of that. Look at this nonsense. But this is definitely stacking up. Stacking up. So anyways, same thing here. I'm just looking for 20 pips on the euro. And to the end of the year, though, we could definitely do 100 pips here for every 200 we do in the pound. I think we could get a few pips out of this in the weekly. So, to the round. And then maybe we can just shear these off. Just same situation. But instead of 200 pips, I think maybe cash out here. It's hard to believe the end of the year is here. It's just... actually, it's earlier ending than it is here. It's only 3 weeks left, so. Kind of sad, it's all over. But yeah, it's going to be, at least we won't be at insane prices. If we can make it to here, sellers come in, and now we can just go back to slashing around a few pips here and there. The party's going to be over after this, into the end of the year, and then, of course, less people trading and all that. But it could be quite the short squeeze into the end of the year where you just start chopping this stuff, and you're like, holy shit, and it ends up here, and people are like, what the fuck? Then I'm like, oh, let's buy it if it pulls back 50 pips. Then I start to get in super heavy again. Because I suspect on the 4-hour chart, look at this 4-hour screaming candle. Right, so that's pretty, and it's coming up into insane prices, right? We're coming up into this, taking out the high from weeks ago. I'm going to try to get these 20 pips done here tonight. Into Friday, I'm definitely going to go flat here on everything I'm in. Because even if it's going to keep going up on the 4-hour chart, my opinion, there's no sense. And unless it rockets into this thing, but look at all these little rooftops. Look at them all just stacked up here. That would be insane. I'm totally happy getting out of everything in this 40 pip window here. Actually, above here, and maybe it squeezes to here by Friday at 5 p.m. But I'm not sticking around. Cash out right there, because the next, after that, the obvious trade is come back in with limits all over again to buy any kind of plunge, any kind of way, because it's not about the trend. It's about the fact that we know it can pull back. It's how deep does it pull back and how long does it take? And if you've got enough money in the account, then you don't care if it takes 4 hours for your first ticket to fill, because you know that's a better buy, because it had to move at some kind of velocity down into that. So here, look at 1 hour chart here. If you were to come in front of the market and for the whole week, so after the market is up here, you could still put limits here. Although it's going to take you a while to get filled. like here's a scalp. When it went below here, people bought it for that little run of 20 pips and then slammed down. Now you could get in here or you could have got in on this pullback because you knew it was a downtrend because it's lower than it was before. Hopefully it's obvious on this chart what's going on. You're going down, then you're going up, you're going down. So when you're going down, you have to decide, well, it's slightly up and I think it's going down because it just went down. Like here, you'd buy this little baby pullback. Even though it's not going to make you a million, it's not going to be like always go up, straight up. But look, if it just went down, if it just went down and you sell every time it's going up, sell, 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 then you don't touch it, and then you sell, and you don't touch it, you get out, you cash out here. So it goes up, any kind of pullback you get in on, any kind, it doesn't matter. You're not looking for any kind of perfect, oh, it's this much of the ATR. Why? Why would you do all that bullshit? It goes up, it pulls back a little buy. Yeah, it's not going to go on forever. And as it's coming up here, you have to have some awareness that you are above this price and you've filled this hole. You've satisfied that hole. Now you tread water and you got a new hole forming here and a new hole forming here. Sure, you could break out and go up, but you could also break out and go down. So you're range trading that. Then the accumulation down here at the 100-yard line keeps bobbing off at 20 pip. People are scalping their 20, whatever they can get. I mean, you kind of have to go with what's going on. Not much here, but you're also the guys in the no nonsense. Some guys said, well, I didn't take that trade and that's, it's about not losing money. Dude, it's about making money. If you're not losing money, you're missing out. You should have been on that trade going the other way. You don't say dumb shit like, well, we didn't take that trade because our algo helped us out. Holy fuck, you got to lighten your algo up, dude. You have to be able to get fucking in heavy on something, or just get on something that is heavy for these people. That's why they want to trade 1K. We don't trade just 1K. We trade standard lots because we're so our algo's so tuned up. Is it now? Oh yeah, we got $1 million in the account. We're trading a standard lot. Well, yeah, but dude, what? You should be trading way more tickets than that, right? You should be trading $5 million positions if you've got $1 million in the account. Wouldn't you? I don't know, man. It's just hysterical. And that's what they know. That's the empowered trading people. Yeah, get about 200 grand in the account, and then you just risk like 2% of the account per trade. All right, you're just not going to go broke. But why would you put on dumb shit trades like that? Oh, I'm going to get in 58K in this one entry on this Gartley. Oh, they missed my entry by 2 pips. When he said they missed his entry by 2 pips, I'm like, maybe you're putting him in too close. Maybe you're putting in too many big one single, like, I wrote one song, I hope it's a hit. You mean to tell me you're going to tell this guy what's a hit? Like, yeah, well, I threw out the other 90 tunes. I mean, there could have been a hit in there. Well, yeah, I know, but I edited all my photography before I let anybody else see it. Yeah, I guess so, right? It's a bad picture. But you don't know that in these markets. You might think that's a bad picture. Some guy might be like a millionaire who's blind. He'd be like, I love it. I love that picture. I don't know, man. You really, the moving average thing, yeah, sure, I could throw it on this chart and I could say, look at, we can all do this, I'm sure. I could say, well, I got a 50 moving average here. What does it look like? Yeah, it looks something like this. It's kind of trying to play catch up. It's a little bit. It finally got it right there, though. See, and I bought there, and yeah, I know. But you know what? It's keeping me from losing money. Oh God! But what if I had I'm just saying because I did this stuff. Maybe I should put this moving average in. It seems to catch this amazing setup. Where this one's a little too fast. We got to tweak that algo. Well, fuck. Why don't you run this one? Look at all the fucking trades in here. You could have made money during this whole phase. Nah, I like it when the moving average is like this. And I take that 50 EMA entry. Yeah, I got it. Sure, you're going to tell me all day long. Well, then, it took us 6.5 months. So let me tell you something. I know you whippersnappers like to jump out there with that 5 period moving average and be like, I'm scalping, I'm this, I'm that. But I think you should sit down and listen to Grandpappy tell you how we used to trade. Is we put a good 50 simple moving average. We don't know this fucking exponential shit. I can't even pronounce that. Exponential? What are you, a scientist? It was simple 50 SMA right there. We got in. That's why you're wearing them shoes you're wearing now, son. That's why our house didn't burn down. And we got in there. We got. That's the only trade we did. We never got another signal out of that system. It rotted in the drawer. We tried to take it here, it stopped us out. Oh God, can you imagine? Son, there was a time when we used to scalp. You'd have no college fund if we would trade like we used to. Sorry, kids. Daddy's on a scalping bender again. There must be some poor kids out there who's. So here's the thing. The tequila guy, right? At that time, he was scalping. His son was like, I say, where's your dad? He's in that room. He'd be in this trading room, gambling like a true gambler. You have no idea. Man, I wish I would have had camera back then. Now that I would sell tickets to that show. To see this guy's eyes bugging out as the price moved in his favor. But yeah, we all think that, but it's tough, because this account here, this is the same account that I took off a cliff. I'm actually I'm in like 2 10Ks here. It's kind of funny because this account here, since I just don't care. Look at me, I'm up really big on 10Ks here. I just went all in on 10Ks. I just said, fuck it. So I was down there with no stop. Now, if I hold this thing for the next 3 years, I can come back and claim, see that? I took it from 300 to 4,000. Actually, I have enough free margin I could come in with my scripts and scalp this. I could sit there and buy the market with a 1K and make my peanuts, but the thing is, you lay these peanuts out. They're talking about anywhere from 20K. Like I said, I don't have a problem trading 20K with a 20 pip stop or a 50 pip stop. That's kind of a trade that could make some decent money. There's plenty of room for the market to bang around. And let's imagine that we actually scaled in. So we bought 1K every 5 pips. So you're in a 20K on some instrument that kind of moves like that. So in the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, you could get in like a 20K in like a very narrow zone. And now you've got different stops, different take profits. All the market has to do is bang around within the realm of your first take profit, and you're already up on the trade. And you didn't pick the exit because of a target in space. You picked it because it's financial. So maybe you have an 8 pip stop to make 8 pips. And people think, oh, that's peanuts. But dude, 80 cents times 10 is $8. 8 times 100 is $80. And that's a high probability. People scalp for $80 all day long. Trust me. Here, just made 80. Just made 60. Just made 40. Just made 80. Just made 60. Just made 40. At the end of the day, you got like $2,000. Yeah, you could do that. That's a lot of work too. But hey, it's fun. When it opens, you're like, oh yeah, this thing's fucking. So I decided, well, if the market's tanking, I'll be like, fuck. 10 pips apart, next 4 hours, boom. Let them come in and fill me, man. There's money in the account. Let them come in. I'll make $50. I'll risk 20 to make 50. I'll do that 3 times a day. Now, on these big, insane sell-offs, like when the news comes out and it's a fake move, I mean, no, it's just too far, too fast. I'll buy it. There may only be a 20 pip dead cat bounce in that trade, but that's okay because I'm like, okay, that's that. Now I could sell into that, but I probably wouldn't because it's so, in my opinion, it's so oversold that I'm just going to do dead cat bounces until I think, oh God, this is like really. If they take it down lower and my limits get filled and then they retrace it and I wake up and I see I'm up 20 to 40 pips, if I'm up, 300 bucks, I'm going to get out and go back to sleep and lay a whole new rack of limits in. Because like, oh, they're going to retest it now for sure. I mean, if that was a dead cat bounce, there's a high probability that 80% of the bounces, at least 60% of the bounces are dead cat bounces. There's no way the market's going to turn around on a dime, either direction. So once there's a big price pulse move, then it's going to be chop city. It'll go chop, 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 and then it'll either make a triangle or a flag or some type of small body doji on some time frame, and we're going to continue into the void, into the larger void of all voids on the chart. If you're coming up against the edge of, so if gold takes out 2000, it's going to be crushing up into this window and people will bid it to a 3000 very quickly because there's no resistance there. It's never been there. And it's chasing palladium in a way. I just imagine palladium should be at 2500 as gold's approaching 2000. And I do think that's going to be an issue because the manufacturing. And then blame Trump because he's going to overheat the economy. You never should have deregulated. That's coming. So next administration, he's obviously going to win by landslide. So next attack's going to be financial. We got to look at his taxes. He's overheated the economy. He's a cowboy. He's reckless. Can't he see the harm he's causing? And yeah, that's coming. And all those billionaires are getting so rich. And I think I do have a buy limit pending here. The tickets I had laid in here. Like I said, the comments need to be changed to the appropriate time frame at some point. But yeah, that's going to be so funny, and they're going to blame because it's going to be crazy. And the tariff thing, once that, of course, just the order imbalance, they call it the trade war or they call it the trade deficit, but it's not really that. There's definitely either in reality or people's perception of what's going to happen when they finally rectify the Chinese thing because, well, it's already been rectified, I suppose, by the markets. In real time, everything is being rectified, and that's why the markets exist, is to offset the gridlock of the government. So if they sign that Mexican deal or whatever, this new NAFTA thing, it's not anything new. It's just everything's tweaked, I suppose. But as the prices are chased up into the ionosphere, possibly on gold here, and I haven't looked at Bitcoin, but I suppose that has to go up too because everything's going to go up. It's just going to be like inflation across the board. I mean, food and stocks, everything. I think stocks are going to keep going up, like blowing people's minds. Seriously. It'll be like, and there may never be a reckoning in stocks. It may just be a vacuum into the sky. I swear to God. I mean, people will be talking. There'll be pullbacks, but oh my God, what the fuck? People are just jumping. It's insanity. And the dollar would just be annihilated. Like, as far as, yeah, it's going to be, I don't know, but computers are cheap as shit. I'm trying to buy these old tablets. I can't even find one. Try to find an 8-inch tablet. I'm like, oh my God, they're all Androids. So, I guess you have to build your own. I saw a motherboard for one. But yeah, I was test driving this 11-inch tablet, and it needs to be a convertible. I have to get one of those ones you flip around, where it becomes like a tent. Because when I'm sleeping, I have to have my tablet next to me. So this tablet I can prop up. I guess I need like a tablet holder on a gooseneck. It's a retractable device. But yeah, the week's over. The year's over. I just feel like this is it. 3 weeks, and the window dressing begins where all these brokers are going to cash out to impress their clients, get out of the stocks. Stocks will probably just climax into the end of the year and drift now. And I think it's just going to be drift and then run up. I don't know why, but I think I see them weird. I think there's be some big profit taking at the end of the year there. People cash out, go pay their taxes, go buy their next yacht. The world hasn't come to an end. Greta Van Sunshine has, she's like warned everybody the world's coming to an end. So yeah, people are just gonna live their lives, man. They're gonna buy more gear, and they're gonna hook up more phones, and they're gonna turn more knobs. That's gonna be my prediction for the new year. Is people are gonna buy smarter cars? Oh, so did anybody listen to the story about the Boeing airplane situation? Now this is a crime of history. I'm sure Ayn Rand would just be like, "You did what?" Yes, after the plane blew up, the first Boeing plane, the smart plane, this too smart for its own fucking good plane, they said that the systems said that they tested the failure rate and they came to the conclusion that every 5 years you would lose a plane. So after they lost the first plane, they were like, they knew that, and they're like, whatever. And they kept flying these planes. Oh man. Unbelievable. Plus, don't forget it's a green plane. Like they were competing with some other plane company to get their shit out there, Airbus or something. So there was their smart green plane. And they wanted to be first. They were competing for a client. One of the carriers, And that's another thing, is it's actually a green plane. It's a fucking Greta Van fuck you plane. Greta Van die plane. Oh, because I'm so conscious. I flew here on a Willie Nelson phlegm boat. Yeah, it's fueled by Willie Nelson's phlegm. Oh, did you know? Would you like to come to our meeting later on? We're having a little meeting in the basement. Man, that porno nonsense people. Some guy, so I'm reading the comments in there today, and this guy's like, come to the beast room. Nobody's in the beast room. The guy named something Fry, Firewhy or something. Fire White. Wait, dude. You're the moderator. You're a cunt. Get out of here. You shouldn't be chatting in here. What are you, fucking framing the shit that happens in here? What are you, laser etching the fucking comments in here into some fucking CD inside of Ron L. Hubbard's vault? Although Ron L. Hubbard shit was put on like gold CDs and mounted like 500 miles below the surface of the planet. I mean, come on, man. Really? So, No Nonsense is still hitting these fucking videos out, man. The conspiracy thing now. And people are so chummy in the comments. I'm like, wow, this is a bizarre. Even if it wasn't about trading, it's like a knitting thing where that's such a nice design you have. Where'd you find that? Did you steal that from the internet? No, I bought it from Reputable design company. No nonsense designs. No nonsense quilt. I'm surprised he doesn't come out with a whole line of shit. No nonsense dildos. Yeah, this thing talks while you fuck it. Talks like no nonsense. Oh, it's like, how about, yeah, he could have the no nonsense sex package. Includes the Dirty Dozen. Oh my. Boy, that RSI, it had no idea. Relative strength, you call it, huh? I set it on 14 because I'm on 3. My girlfriend, she kind of like, I think she broke a bone. She broke a bone on that. Yeah, so she's walking bow-legged. I gave her the RSI on 5. Dirty Dozen sex kit. I mean, if you really wanted to make money, he's always got this, well, I have a couple oars in the water. I got a couple fires in the chimney or whatever it is. You got to diversify. I got some dineros or what is it? What's that currency? Moneros? Oh jeez. We're waiting for the price to go up. It's going to be crazy. Oh god, I don't even know, man. This is so cute. So, I'm excited about the euro versus the pound here. I think there could be quite the steamroll. Look at this early entry here. So another thing is, look at just this currency here now. This is the 1 hour chart. If you've got the tickets to drop on here, it's just obvious, the trade, right? You're going to put in, I got a bad template here. Let me load a new template there. Because I'm missing the day breaks. Okay, there you go. So, like, this is this is Asia session. So when you retest Asia, you could have orders in here. Wait a second, I'm missing my 20 pip grid. Okay, so here you got like a 20 pip stop, right? And you could buy that plunge, I think, And as it rips to here, you could scalp this portion to the floor, or are you going to ride it for the full engulf? There's sellers up here, so you're either going to cash out there, and then you start the whole thing over again. So if this was going to go on all week now, I would buy, if I was trading this euro versus pound right now, I already know my orders for tonight. Buy. And by here, I'm in a 50K, now I'm in 100K, and I'm in 150K here, and I'm going to ride it to here. I'm going to buy one at the market right now because we just pulled back on the 1 hour. So I would keep buying at the market every hour it's down, and I got limits in that are 5 pips deep, looking to get filled on a pullback, basically. So I'm just buying pullbacks. Like here would have been a no-brainer. Big tickets in here. Here, not so big. So here's my dead cat bounce trade. Then we come down lower. Buy. And the high probability exit's going to be cashing out to there, right? That's going to be. And then I would dump everything, come back into Asia. Maybe I buy at the market here. Actually, it's not down there, but that's just because the spread got big. That's really a fake candle. Here's my first hammer. I got buy stop stacking up here. I could have sell stop stacking up here. I would either take advantage of this breaking out this way or that way. But I like the idea of buying at the market here, and then just putting limits in down here. And if below here, I just buy more, and then of course, these are the notches I'm looking to fill. for the psycho move, and that's even more tickets down there. If I hand place them, I don't really gonna hand place them too much because I'm just gonna buy as we approach that price and then beyond. So it looks like this on the 1 hour chart for this currency. So on the sell side, say I wanted to sell this pocket, right? So I'd have the sell limit sitting up there, and that was a pretty easy one. Here, a little more difficult because I'm going to buy here all the way down. When it retraces to the breakout point, I have to get out, and then I can put the limits in again. And I would have made money into if I had sells up there to go the reversing of the other way, which is ideal. But it may be more psychologically demanding because you just got out of a giant position here and you're like, wow, I just made X amount of dollars. Should I get in and reverse here? Yeah, you should. Like I said, for some people, if you had been buying every 20 pips all the way down for the whole entire month, so this is 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. So next week, for all week. So at this point, you could have dropped limits here. And it wasn't until the next day they came down and filled your limits. Of course, if you start buying that at $5 million, $1 million, you can't un-martingale. You can't anti-martingale it. You can't sell 5 mil, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1, because you're just getting obliterated. It's better to say, I bought 1 mil, I bought a 2 mil here, I bought a 3 mil, because this one, you can, dollar-wise, even if you get stopped out here on that, if this has a wider stop, and then this is the biggest position, and this is the same stop, the bigger position survived this, and you probably, if you bought that, you could say, well, I'm just going to get out where I bought it and not wait for it to kind of engulf that floor. That is true. So you could see all the situations here. And of course, retesting the 100 like a moron on the hourly. Buy, dump, buy, dump, buy, dump. And this is just the euro versus the pound. But the thing about this currency is look at this triangle. Look at this setup. And you knew the blue line was marching up as this was happening. This is your ultimate. This is the 1 period Bollinger Band. So we're either going to break out here, we're going to take out this stairway, or we're taking out that stairway by the end of the next 10 years. I'm saying at some point in time, man, we're either going to cut up into this, we're going to cut down to this. And what's going to happen in this, and we know there's going to be prime scalping off of this, off of that, off of that, off of that. This is the floor at the 100-yard line. A lot of people will be cashing out there, I suppose, if we make it to that. And at the end of the year, yeah, I think we could make it here. And I don't think that's asking too much. So I don't want to get too greedy. Because these kind of moves here that you're seeing, it's pretty rare as far as I'm concerned. This move here, like look at the rate of this, is psychotic in one day. And then a little more follow through, and then we get these nice high probability bounces here. Dead cat bounce. Only 20 pips off of this giant collapse. Then we deny that floor, come back in, unbelievable, but back in again, and now we're centering out. We could still sweep down. That's why I'd have the buy limits in there for 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours all day. But it's over. The week's over. So that big Wednesday move, and then we look at the daily chart. We're looking at trades for next week. Look at this sideways of nothing. Imagine building a short position. Every time it rallied in here, sell, 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 sell. Even the trailing stops never triggered. Never gets triggered. But they're stacking up now. All the pressure. And we are at rock bottom. This goes way back. Something on this chart. So this goes way back. Probably the whole data set. Let me go to the weekly. So super deep discount. Here it is, the monthly. So look at the monthly euro versus pound. Wow. Could still come after this. Stop. This guy's stop. I mean, if somebody has a stop here, but these are prime real estate buys. Scalp to that. Buy here and scalp to here. And trapped these sellers here at the moment. This is a hell of a story, euro versus pound, as it goes sideways here. Then look at this giant steep area here. I'm going to buy everything. I put everything I own into that entry there for a bounce to here, or maybe bounce back to here. But that's going to take a while if we ever make it down there. I think this could be a huge reversal point here, the last notch on the pretty deep price, and then this huge shelf here. So that was mind-boggling, and that was launching off at this top. This breakout pullback. But maybe we have to come back and start diving into this thing and just start crushing in. I would say for the big bulls, it doesn't get any better than this. It's got to cut back to here, reject that floor, and start hunting down all of these bear stops. So bears are betting on it's going to keep caving in all the way to here, and then here's where the big hefty buyers would buy here. But that is so far away. That's insanely far away. Probably take a year to get down there. I mean, this is the monthly chart, for God's sakes. This is 2016. So I'm looking at the 4-hour chart, and I'm saying this is the big giant floor that everybody's like blown away. So far, the stairway to hell has not been violated, other than this one here, and this was a big buying opportunity. This bottom is supposed to become a top on Wix, and comes down in here. At that time, the blue line was here, and it crushed, it broke out, trapped, and then here the sellers, or people that have sell stops. This is why breakout trading sucks. If you bought this breakout and you put your stop in here, you only made this much money. So you had to be willing to buy down here, super deep. Buy because it's down, buy because it's down, buy. These are all oversold conditions. Buy this one. So trading at the market, yeah, sure, sell here. Seller limits are getting filled there too. It's the end of 4 hours. I guess you got to be on top of it a little bit. But not really, because on the 4-hour chart, what I do is I put in my 8-hour scripts, my 4-hour. In a market that's this tame right now, also, you kind of have to go how tame it is. You're going to put in orders really tight here for 8 hours here all day. And at the end of the week, coming into next week, you can make the orders last all week. So if it gaps down into next week, layered on top of your scalps, you got to have these really conservative swing trades. If you're only trading one currency like this, because you can have buy limits sitting down here waiting to get into this drama like this, like you would here. I mean, you made 40 pips off of this one, 20 pips off of this one, anything that came into this, right? There's your 20, then your 40 if you held on. with stops size. So you have to size all the stops appropriately. It's not just like throwing in tickets, but it is. You got to be aware of what the currency is capable of and what do you think it's going to do right now. Now, right now, this thing is like, it's still trapped under the floor, but I am buying down here if I'm going to build a long position. And as soon as it starts taking off this, hopefully I'm in and I can be cashing out as we sweep up and take out that blue line. But wow, this is quite the amazing proof that if you built a moving average on this system, I mean, let's just throw one on there just to show you how retarded moving averages are. Let's just whip in we'll put the old 20 EMA in there, for God's sakes, right? That's like tried and true. And it's going to be closing prices, right? I'm going to go with it's got to be exponential. It just doesn't even matter. 20. Hey, man, people have made millions of dollars with this fucking 20 EMA. Come on. Wheat. High fiber. So once again, 20 EMA nails it right here. It's come right back, it touches it, has respect for it and everything. Sell right there. Yeah, I know you sold here the same idea and you sold here and it didn't work, but don't worry about that. Don't worry about those trades, man. Just that's not even. Okay, don't make fun of my baseline. My baseline's at 20 EMA, you know. Besides, here my ATR wasn't right and it kept me out of this trade. I didn't lose any money. What we're doing here is trying not to lose something. We're trying not to break shit. Okay, you broke another one. We're not giving you another one. You broke. That's the 5th one you broke, son. What are you, some cowboy rebel pressing buttons? We don't like that. We don't appreciate that. Here, you know, you sold here because it's below your baseline. Rally into the base. I know the ATR was slamming your system and you didn't take that trade, but this is simple. I talked to this guy and I was explaining. He put up a 20 EMA and I was like going, yeah, this is the entry right here. Fits the rules. EMA down. Sell all rallies in a downtrend. We're below the baseline. Below the cloud. It's safe to sell here. And it's up 20 pips. It's up 10 pips on close on the dailies. And you're going to sell that. Here, you could sell there. I'd sell here. It's a good trade. You made money. Look at sell, 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 sell. You don't need ATR filters and all that bullshit. You just need a 20 EMA, man. Sell, sell, sell. Sell, 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 sell. It's fucking easy. The only time it's not good is stuff like this. And this happens. Sell. Sell. I still got a down sloping 20 EMA. Sell. Okay, maybe not sell here, right? But you don't want to buy there. This is no nonsense. You buy here because my baseline turned up. That's real good thinking. Johnny, do you think of that all yourself? Well, yeah, I did with this 20 EMA. Have you seen it? The bankers are using it. Not on the daily, dumb shit. On the monthly. Or on the weekly. Of course there's less noise on the weekly. Yeah, here's a good 20 EMA. Fuck, 20 EMA rules. Sold here. I sold here and I sold here. And those poor guys at No Nonsense. It's so funny because what they've done is they've over nonsensed it and they've made it so complicated. Like here, look at this. Down sloping 20 EMA. I sold right here. I don't know. This is on the weekly. I don't know what you're talking about. This 20 EMA is the fucking best thing that ever happened. Except here, when I bought here. Now, I gotta tell you, when I bought here, I did think it was suspicious. The trend said it was up. I did say to myself, I don't think I want to do that trade. I did that trade over here. Actually, this one kind of, I sold here, and boy, it didn't rip my face off. I thought we'd go lower. No, there's three winning trade. There's winning trades on this chart. There's three kinds of trades. You could be a guy that says we closed above my baseline, and I'm not going to use the ATR because it is completely retarded to use a 14. Well, backtest, you're fucking stupid. That's not going to, you can't trade that shit. You can't, there's no trade plan for a 14 period ATR. But there is a trade plan for the 20 EMA. If you are above, you close above, yes, you could buy right there. You buy there. That's all you need. You know that this is where your stop has to go. If you buy here, you should put a stop here just in case you're wrong. Or you could wait for a smaller bar. And you could buy here with a stop here. You could have bought here with a stop here. You could have bought here with a stop here. You buy every time it's up above the baseline. Yeah, you could do that. Sure. Until here, and they might stop you out. But how often do you ever see this situation? Right? Because if you had done that same trade here where you're like, well, I'm going to sell here because we're below my baseline. I'm going to sell here. Are you fucking not selling there? Well, it's going to work out here when I buy every up. And even the turtle traders are making money. The soulful turtle. I just put my buy stop in and I'm fucking making money. It's crazy. Yeah, you are. It is crazy. But it's such a rare situation. It is so hard to just trade like that. Yeah, you could build your stupid fucking algo and go, we're going to prop roll. He's the best prop trader we got. He uses the... What is his secret? He uses the 20 EMA. His last name is Nonsense. At Maverick, he's our top trader. Oh, sure, he's got a couple side businesses, like the no-nonsense dildo system. Yeah, he's got it like 3D now. It's got laser lights and shit. It's blinded a few girls. He's being sued, like when the jerk with the glasses. He's being sued now. Yeah, the 20 EMA, I know. Yeah, we sold this rally. I didn't even know what just below the baseline. You come in making fun of us no nonsense guys. No, he took it too far. Because the no nonsense guys, you know what they say about these entries? Can't get in because there's news. Can't get in here because the big banks. Can't get in here because they haven't tweaked this 20 EMA. Dude, it's 20 EMA. Leave it alone. Deal with it. Now, I would say that if you ran a histogram of the MACD of the closing prices against the 20 EMA, yeah, you're going to see divergence here. You see the space is getting smaller. Smaller. Like you're way away from, also, you're oversold. You're way away from the 20 EMA. Buy and ride it back in. Buy and ride it back to the standard deviation, the 20 deviation. The smooth 20 standard deviation. Here's a classic. People would say, yeah, but you don't understand, dude. This thing respects the 20 EMA. Look at it. It comes back and kisses it and it just launches off of it. Yes, that's true. But there's a couple things causing that to happen. It just went up. This is the only pullback as we know of. Volatility's dried out, and we have the looming vacuum here. that everybody just can't wait to punch it through, and they do a rip back just before. So today on the euro dollar, on the half hour, it pulled right back at 11:30, and that was the low. And then we just drifted up, and we came near the border, and then they came out with the FOMC, just like everybody just was pretty sure that this is gonna be a bullshit. Like they're not gonna touch it. Besides, we're already breaking out of the cage, Now, we could be breaking out into this shit, or we're breaking out at this stage, right? This is the first break out of the cage to the north, and you wait for your EMAs to catch up here, see? And here you're getting closer to this is as close to the river as you get. This is your best entry, plus you stop hunted all of this. You took out 4 weeks of stops in one bush. You could have traded that. The guy that wants to make 16 grand a day, but you're not going to make 16 grand a day, dude, because you got to fucking be hitting it every day and finding a market that's doing this kind of shit on the 1 hour chart. And they do this. Like if the news came out, yeah, I could see that. This is a 10 pip grid. This thing is just gushing, and then wow. But that is the weekly chart, and that is the middle of the year, pretty much. And now here we are, scraping the bottom in a 100 pip window. So this looks like juicy buy material here. Reversal city. Serious reversal city, I think. And on the, let's see, the daily chart. Compress the daily chart, and lo and behold, but like I said, this is why people do trade the 20 EMA. I like to buy here, so I would, if you're a 20 EMA buyer, how about you buy every day it's above the 20 EMA? Is that a good trade? Buy. Buy more on pullbacks. Wow. Like I said, here's where you get crushed a little bit. On the weekly, you can see that it's just one single wick on the weekly. Different world on the 4 hour, on the daily chart. If you put buy limits in here on the daily, you made 200 pips off that bottom ticket, but you only made 100 pips off of the first bad fill. But if you had 100 pips stop here and you had 100 pips stop on this, you made 200 pips, right? Then they just crush it. And if you bought this, unless you scalped out that's a daily chart, unless you scalped out on the 4 hour chart, yeah, you're fucked. You have to realize that when you take this out, and this, and this, and this, and this has already been cashed out, right? That trade's come and gone. Now this area, that's 200 pips of just death spiral. Look at that. I mean, there's nothing until here. And now the buyers are coming in. The big fat money comes in there, trades it to here. Now people start buying that retest and deeper in anticipation of, we are going to destroy this wedge. And that would be a pounding short squeeze. And look at how brutal, like this. So this launching pad here, and this is too big of a hole, and then it fills to here, and then it finally does a complete back to the starting gate and beyond the starting gate. Amazing. These are just astounding moves. I mean, this area here gets filled by this blasting move where they bid it all the way here, and they're just like, yeah, quadruple bottom on the daily, and then just like, whoa. Now if you're watching this in the 4 hour, you're going, holy shit, what happens if we ever get back up here? So that's what I'd be saying about this. What if we ever get back into this pocket up here? Sure, we could keep melting down. And don't forget, there's plenty of trades just from dead cat bounces, but it's gauging your size. If you're always going to trade $1 million and make $16,000 a day, man, you got to lay this track just right per currency pair. Not make any more or less, but on average, right? So those are just, look at the zoom. Look at the zoom out here. Look where you're at in the big structure here. It's just mind-boggling. I just can't believe this currency. I mean, this is the most vicious retracement, non-trending. I guess this is a trend, but this is just, this is unbelievable. Look at this marching up the 20 EMA here. Here's another argument for the 20 EMA, right? And this is the argument against it. So you could just, you could dial this to a 40 EMA to whatever you want. There's always going to be a section on the chart where you go, oh, right there. You just blew up the account. You just destroyed the account there. So that's euro versus yen. Caught in a box. Caught in a trap. But look how narrow this thing looks. Just ready to rip north and cut all this stuff out. Because otherwise, look at this pressure underneath right now. Euro versus yen. So we're at the apex. We could get a pop to here. End of the year. Daily chart. It's all going to be over pretty soon. Look how this thing walked all the way back to here. So that blue line, we never got to that, but there was a point in time where the blue line was on this. So buying below that, this is the big pivot too. I think this is what's going to happen in the euro versus pound. You're going to come here, you're going to come here, and then people are like, uh-oh. And now there's a larger chance that we're going to start engulfing because we rejected this last seller's entry. The sellers came in here. Well, they actually, on this wick, this bottom, they came in here, drive it down, and they're like, oh yeah. But this is the steep, vicious retracement window because from here is that, well, I'm going to go from this wick back. That's that same 400 pip window of crush back to here that was in the British pound, which I think we overcame that. But this is like a big time auction. This big boy auction here, son. This is the big banks are trading this shit. You think you think you know, but you don't know, and you don't know that you don't know because those big banks they're out to get you. Haven't you been reading the no-nonsense stuff? And so he's bragging about, I got 1 million views on the big bank thing. Yeah, because everybody's such a victim, and you got so many goobers that people are just like, can I get rich? Can I get rich trading? Well, define rich. Well, like $100 an hour would be a lot of money to me. 8 hours a day. Let me get a pencil. $800 a day. Yeah. Okay, so this looks like the big crushing northern blow. We're going to get this big giant move now. Stand back. Get away from the terminal, son. I don't want you putting any of your rebel ideas into the market. These are very pure markets. Don't forget they're technically analyzed by analysts. I like it when these people would post this shit, they'd say stuff like, he's a certified technical analyst. I thought, God, how do you get certified for this? Well, he can tell you how to build 20 EMA from scratch. He can recite pi. He knows his fibs. This guy's I had a guy trade my money, so I gave him 10 grand to trade currency options. Because he was on this radio station, and I knew the guy that was on the radio, and I thought, I trust him. And the great office, smelled good in the office, good lighting, hot receptionist. Cordial individual, didn't smell or swear. Didn't smell like urine, like this guy at Starbucks in California. I mean, really, come on, people. Nobody said anything. You guys are so polite. I was stirring my coffee. My eyes are watering. So I gave him my 10 grand and he'd send me statements. The guy that was trading my account, he's a member of Mensa. Mensa's like for smart people. So he was proof that smart people don't always make money. So give me another 10 grand. He goes, we're almost there, we just need some more money. And I was like, okay. I had 10 grand to blow. But then after that, I was like, yeah, I'm going to trade my own account. Even if I blew up my account, I'm trading my own account. Fuck it. I'll lose my own money, thank you. So then I switched gears there. I don't know if that was before or after I read my first trading books or did my first. I think I had Jake Bernstein was one of my first books I bought. Now he's a seasonal trader, commodities, and I'm like, this guy's got his head up his ass. I even was trading at his brokerage firm. And he had his head up his ass then. All his recommendations were like some seasonal. Well, there's going to be a lot of corn grown this year. Yeah, okay, so I should buy. No, you should short corn. There's going to be oversupply. See? Supply and demand only exists, according to no nonsense, only exists in commodities. And everybody's going to be like, no nonsense is going to get the credit for going long gold. He's like, yeah, everybody should have a little bit of gold in their portfolio. I like how everybody's going to be right about these stackers. Look at them. You make fun of them. Look at gold at 3,000. You were making fun of those people. See, you make fun of people. Look, see what happens. Yeah, I know, but I'd just rather have a guitar than a pile of gold. Because look, they can play it. You can't play gold, dude. You can't. Oh, yeah, you want to see my gold coins? Oh, can I? They're not going to hurt my ears, are they? Like that guitar amp you bought. With that big watt guitar amp. I know what watts mean now. They mean tens. I got ringing in my ear. What they call it, tens? Tinnitus? I got that tinnitus, man, from that fucking cabinet you bought. The fucking subwoofer just lost all my low frequency. Everything sounds like a fucking squirrel. Anyways, don't stand in front of this pound tonight. I'm warning you, son. This thing's on a fucking mission north. 200 pips. If they hadn't kicked me out of Discord, just because I was wrong about my 50 pips, I meant this week, not last week, for my 50 pip call. But I was right about the pound. Pound is on a mission. And that's another thing. This whole market call thing is so retarded. Dude, it doesn't even matter. Like, if you made that call and you earned 5K, okay, so you made 50 bucks. Look at you. You're setting the world on fire. But what if you didn't make the call? What if you just sort of like, oh, I think I see what's going on here. Yeah, I'm going to get in real big and then I'm going to take half the position off and I'm going to see, maybe I'm wrong. I just made so much money in the last 5 hours. I could hold this for 5 days. Yes, I could see this big pattern. Yes, I could see that. So the ultimate to me is to be able to trade 300K during London Open and hold 300K in a swing trade. So you made that chunk of money and now you're up 100 pips trying to make 300 pips in 300K. You're up 100 pips and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to I can scalp with that in the background. I can do that. Or I can just scalp. I don't want to hold a position. I don't want to watch the equity swing up and down and go, yeah, I know. If you stayed in that trade for another month, man, you'd be up another 10 grand. Sure. If you're going to ride $3,000 equity swings on the way to that target and you don't mind it, the account sits 36,000, so it's up 3,000, it's down 3,000, you finally make 11,000 on that trade. Yeah. I don't know if you think that's I mean, I don't know much difference between that and the guy that's scalping and making $1,000 a day. At the end of the month, you're both up the same amount. The only thing for this guy who scalps $1,000 a day is that if he doesn't trade, he doesn't. He's got free margin. The guy who's holding the position, of course, if the account's big enough, you're not going to notice that you're lacking free margin to do other trades with. But have that nice winning day and then say, oh, we can hold some of this position and then add on pullbacks, and I can see the bigger picture because in 8 hours we could go up and down 100 pips and be unchanged, and it seems a crime to not make 100 pips if the market has moved 100 pips in 4 hours. But if you're trading 28 pairs like no nonsense, it's probably not available to you because you're looking at the daily going, there's a signal. Okay, that's not a signal. It's so filtered out that it's like, you don't forget you built the holy grail of filters. This one's not on heroin and she doesn't have a strange family. Then she's no fun, right? That's the rule of thumb, is that if she's from a functional family, she's going to be boring. If she's out of her mind, it's kind of more interesting. Oh, gee, I didn't even know you could talk backwards. I didn't know your heads could spin. You throw up, and your head spins. I didn't even no idea. So yeah, the week's over, the year's over. It's over, people. Watching the Democrats melt down is the most fun I think I've had in a long time. So there goes the pound. It's gonna pound people. Do not sell into this. I mean, sell into it when it goes up another 40 pips. Start selling. 60 pips, sell more. At 80 pips, sell everything that's not nailed down, and then just wait for the retrace. Okay, it's time to go eat some more food. I gotta pack on some pounds for the winter here. I gotta get fattened up and sit in the corner and stare at my tablet. Wait for this retracement into this boring retracement into Christmas, into the end of the year, into the end of the world. It's going to be raucous. Volatility is going to go nuts. I predict next year is going to be insane. Right into the election, and when Trump wins, it'll be he cheated. And the Russians, all Republicans are Russians. Everybody. So get your Russian gear on. And if you're going to vote for Trump, I'm voting twice for him. I'm dress up like a Russian, get that fur hat. I got one of those laying around. Right, like I'm going to get some snow on my shoulders, some fake snow. Dr. Zhivago look. Get a train behind me. Bring my own train to the voting booth. I see that Russian train behind me. You can't bring that in here, son. How about the girl that got her pin ripped off of her body, and the guy said it should be mounted upside down? It was like bitches for Trump. Tomorrow's so we're wrapping up the week. I'm so glad the year is over. I just can't wait to vote for Trump. Gold through the roof. Dollar through the floor. Dollar's on red alert here. Here's how I see the dollar caving into the yen, which is unbelievable to think about. But there's a stairway here to heaven that needs to be crushed. And I think we could crush it. Let's just start cleaning out all these stops here. Because that could be it. This could just cave into this thing. We're done up here. We trapped in this window. And then bye-bye dollar. Pretty sad to lose against the yen. Definitely against the Swiss. All those Swiss bank accounts. Pound New Zealand, which I never trade. So I used to talk to this trader that traded it, and I said, yeah, what do you think if they ever take out that floor, what's going to happen? He range traded this thing for half his life. Oh, we're missing data here. Yeah, that's too bad. Because I was going to show you the part he was trading it. It wasn't back there. Yeah, fuck, it's down in here. But look at this. Look at this wick down here. Wow. Yeah, look at this thing. Never tried. This is like yen versus. This is like euro versus the pound. People that live very close to each other, where you get this wackadoodle chart. Look at this, not going anywhere. Walk down, smash, sideways. I guess this is the big line of scrimmage here. All right, time to go eat. It's time to go get some entertainment food, as they call it.